Hi guys, it's Rinu here and welcome back to another video. So today I'll be working on this piece here, which is an art study of one of my favorite artists, Loish, which I will put it on the top left to show you guys one of her pieces, and there's also some examples on the right as I put it right there. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the process. So today I'm working with this reference on the left, which is a little kitty chilling under the sun, and it's so cute. I really love it so much, and I found it on Pinterest and I saw it. I was like, oh my god, yes, that's the reference, that's the one I'm gonna do it today. So it's what I'm gonna do today. And this study took me around 3 hours, 3 hours straight. I didn't really take a break. I just sat down with a cup of tea on the side with some water, and I just go right in. And as for today, for this video, I don't really have any serious topics I want to talk about. However, I do want to talk about my thought process and how I do studies like these, because there's people who are asking me, how did you do it? Do you join Loish Patreon, where by the way she have it, do go support her. She have a Patreon and you can go check it out. She does show a lot of her tutorials and how she paints stuff. However, I don't really have it personally because I never thought of joining her Patreon. Maybe one day I will. Maybe I'll treat myself, become her Patreon membership. But I don't currently. So I'm gonna tell you guys how I did it and how I approach these kind of studies. So when I first start out this study, my first approach is to tell myself, alright, what's the thing I want to focus on when it comes to this study, and what do I want to gain from it? Because usually when it comes to art studies like these, trying to imitate a certain kind of artist kind of style or some sort, it's really easy to get carried away, especially by seeing how beautiful it looks, and you want to take everything that she created, etc. AKA some people might trace, some people might draw over it. And by the way, that is totally fine. Tracing can be a good technique to learn, and it's a great way of learning sometimes, and go for it. But personally for me, whenever I approach studies like these, I do want to look into her drawings and ask myself, hey, why do I love her drawing, and what do I want to gain from it? So here I'm going to show you guys an example, which I show right here, which is Loish Instagram, where I can scroll right now. As you can see, I really like her scenery paintings, which has this really smooth curves, really curvy and really flowy in a way that it looks very satisfying to look at. So I told myself in this piece, I do want to gain that feeling. I do want to gain that feeling of that brushstroke she created, that texture she has, and that flow that she creates in every single piece in her work, so specifically her scenery pieces. So I did not look at the character pieces, as that's not what I'm gonna be focusing on. I took all her scenery paintings, mostly focusing on plants and focusing on animals like cats, because the reference, as you can see right now, it has a balcony with a kitty and really cutesy symbol piece, and I don't think having a character reference would be suitable or even helpful in this kind of situation. So with that in mind, knowing that I want to focus on the shapes and the flow and also the colors as well, because Loish paintings are so colorful and I do want to implement in my painting as well. So that's what I kept in my mind. And as I go, I did my sketches as always, because personally I don't think I can do just straight away paint it, because as I said, this is an art study. I don't really want to show off any skills whatsoever. I just want to practice. So I sketch and I implement the base colors as I go. And as for the base color just now, I use a really simple texture brush that I have in my Photoshop. And after I did that, I start to use my lasso tool, as you can see right now, to implement all the shapes and all the solid areas that I want to showcase in this piece, which is the door, the window frame, and also the chair, as you can see as it goes, and also the plants as well. Everything in Loish painting is very solid, even though it looks flowy and like really smooth and flowy. But if you can see in the paintings on her right, it's all very solid, as you can see everything very clearly. Like example, on the bottom right, there's this plant study that she did. It's very full of shapes, like it's so specific that you can understand their silhouettes easily. So that's what I want, and I keep that in mind as I go with this painting. And so far, I'm during this time lapse as I go, I think around this part I was pretty chill, nothing too serious yet. I think it wasn't that bad because it was just applying the shapes and such. Whenever you do this kind of studies, remember to keep the step-by-step pretty simple and also pretty straightforward. That you don't want to complicate things for yourself, because in the end of the day, you just want to learn how to paint like them, and you don't need to do any fancy techniques or such. So I did the really simple lasso tool, which really come in handy in this kind of painting, especially when I want to do the shapes and such. So yeah, big tip for you guys if you want to do pieces like these. Definitely take the advantage with the lasso tool, and also with the texture brushes that you have in your Photoshop, on any software that you're using. So yeah. As this time lapse is progressing, I do realize a lot of mistakes that I make. For example, as you can see, the floor lines are definitely out of perspective, and the water can as well. I did not focus on that too much, and I can see the mistake immediately right now. So definitely I'll keep that in mind in the future studies, that I need to focus on the perspective and the general base a lot more, and not going too rough into it. So for you guys, try not to do this mistake that what I did. Remember that when you sketch out the stuff, be sure to focus on the general base and shape, and make it as accurate as possible, which includes the perspective, the shape of the cat, or the shape of the objects that you're painting and you're drawing. Keep in mind with all these things, and it should be totally fine. And as I progress, I did try to focus on the shapes, even with the shading as well. As you can see in Loish paintings, they really focus on the shapes of each things, even like the shadow, the highlights, and even the details within it is always very shapy and very specific. So that's what I did. Especially you see the cat, I try to focus on the highlight a bit, try to focus on the shapes of it, and even the body, everything, and even the plants behind it, I focus on the shadow shapes and implement all of that within it to try to keep things as simple as possible. Because in Loish paintings, if you realize it, it's not very complicated, yet it speaks really loud. Like all her paintings are very simple, it's just shapes and lines, but when you look at it, it looks so aesthetically pleasing because it's very straightforward. So I do want to implement that into my painting. And I did have a little hard time trying not to make it too complicated, especially with the shading, but I did learn along the way, and in the future I'll focus on that a lot more. So hopefully I'll do improve in the future, but who knows, let's watch and see. Do you guys like that moment of silence there? Yeah, it was a moment for you guys to take a moment to just enjoy the speed paint a little. And I'm reaching to the point where I'm adding more shapes, adding more shapy silhouettes and such. Actually, this painting was quite straightforward. It's honestly the biggest tip I can give you is just use your lasso tool a lot and constantly adding the simple shapes that you see on the reference. If the shape looks too complicated, try to simplify it as much as possible. And as you do your lasso tool, paint all the colors you need into that lasso that you have lassoed in, and then you move on to the next shape. Constantly do that, and as you go you can apply more colors and more shading in certain areas. Like for example, right now I'm painting the wall a bit more, as I can see a bit of greens and browns a little bit and some blues, and I try to apply that along the way. Actually, for this painting, it's just layering and layering after layering, and be sure to keep things super clear and super simplified. As you can see, the cat, for example, it has this really furry, it looks really fluffy, but I did not focus too much on the fur texture. I just focused on the shape itself, which looks like a little I don't know what, looks like a little owl. Like the shape looks like a little owl, and I try to focus on that shape, just that shape alone, and don't really care about the fur texture. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it so far. And how you guys are all doing? I'm doing great this week. It's pretty good. I been pretty busy as always, trying to do all this kind of studies on the side while I'm working on commissions. And I do have commissions on October and a bit in November. But yeah, there's a waiting list and I need to catch up definitely. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy what you're looking so far. And I'm currently drinking hot tea with some water, so be sure to stay hydrated. And be sure to don't drink just fizzy drinks, drink water. Water is definitely a must have in our body, of course. Don't just drink fizzy drinks or coffee. Do drink some water, please. As we continue on with this piece right here, I also do need to note that when I chose this reference, besides there's a cute cat there and there's a lot of really adorable plants, I know those are super cute, but the main reason why I chose this reference alone, because of the really beautiful harsh lighting. Like, look at it. This cat looks like it's enjoying its life. Look at it. It's so happy. And that's the thing I want to focus on. So I thought the reason why I like this reference is because of that beautiful lighting and cause this really nice atmospheric kind of feeling. So that's what I'm trying to implement into my painting. So as you can see, I really focus on the lighting. I don't want to get astray too far off. And later if you see, because right now the chair looks a little bit dull because there's supposed to be a lighting around the edge right there. And later, as you can see, I will realize that and I'll start quickly applying it, because in the end of the day, I really just want to make the lighting super accurate so it looks really realistic. And in the terms of realistic in my painting, it's not exactly like applying a lot of details or a lot of shading. For me, it's applying all the lighting and the shapes as accurate as possible. And when people look from afar, it looks pretty realistic. But as you go zoom in, you can see all the shapes, everything harmoniously forming together as one. And that's what I'm trying to focus on. And I did not focus on the shading or anything, because in the end of the day, what's the point, right? Like, look at Loish painting. In the end of the day, she just focused on shapes and such, and I want to do the same as well. And I did tell myself I need to finish this within 3 hours. And 3 hours for me is not a lot, okay? 3 hours for me is really little, and I do want to finish as much as I can within the 3 hours. So for this painting, I did finish more than 3 hours, but it's like 3 hours 10 minutes. I did touch up in the end a little bit, and it turned out pretty decent. And I learned a lot in this painting. I learned that I need to focus on shapes a lot more, and I need to be aware that shapes does bring a whole lot of beauty in your drawings. And sometimes you don't need too many details to make a really good painting. In the end of the day, as long as it speaks for itself, it might look much better than any detail painting you might see in social media. So that's what I learned, and I do want to implement this technique in the future. And guys, like, I'm not gonna just do this single study. I'm definitely gonna do multiple Loish studies because I told myself that I really want to keep practicing to the point that I got used to using this kind of technique, so I can use this kind of style in any kind of paintings I do, and I won't quote unquote having to have all those reference next to me to technically heavy carry me to finish this kind of pieces, to make it the exact same atmospheric kind of feeling and similar to Loish paintings. I want to be able to do this like automatically in the future, where I'm able to apply this without having Loish reference next to me, you know. So lots of practice, lots of training, and lots of using real life reference and be aware where the lighting will hit and what kind of shape it should be. So yeah, this painting probably is almost done. So far, as you can see, it at the end you look at see it's not very complicated. It's just applying the shapes and such. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video so far. I'm probably gonna post videos every week, like 2 to 1 time. If I do feel like doing more than 2 studies, and I would definitely post 2 videos, and I probably talk about random topics like these. So yeah, I hope you guys find all these tips pretty useful. I didn't really have a script. I literally just say out what I thought that would help you when you do any studies like these. And again, huge disclaimer though, tracing and copying is totally fine, totally valid, but in the end of the day, it does help that certain direction, but that's it. It only reaches to you that certain point, and you really have to do it on your own in the end. So definitely try out my method, and I hope you guys learn a lot in this video. I believe that's it. And oh my god, look at the cat, it's so adorable. The cat looks so cute. Okay, look at that cat. But my cat does look cuter, so yeah. Anyway, if you guys like this video, do subscribe, give a thumbs up, and let me down below what other videos would you guys want to see. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. Here's the final piece. Ta-da! And I will say bye-bye now. Bye-bye.